Well, welcome to episode 128 of Suzie.
You're just loving that we're over 100 episodes, aren't you?
Well, yeah, it shows that we've got, duration. We've been making these
Consistently.
since April of 20.
Really? Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I think April, March of 20.
Yeah.
We started on as the hey, everyone's locked down. You gotta learn a new skill. So we said
So we learned a new skill.
we learned a new skill.
Yeah. We missed like 1 or 2 weeks recently.
Yeah.
We were out of town and like Thanksgiving or something. I don't know. But either way, here we are. Welcome to Suzie, Wenatchee Insurance, Suzie Health Solutions out here in Wenatchee. That's Matt. I'm Suzie. Hi.
Hi.
What's our topic today, Matt? We usually discussed it on the car on the way in, but we did not this morning.
Yeah. And you've got the fiddle things going. So
I always fiddle, that.
Yeah. I'll have to sit here and throw cheese at you.
Well, that's not going to help. Then I'll fiddle with the cheese. Go on. What's our topic today?
Our topic is, we started building our family space.
Yes.
And it's one of those things that we kind of stumbled into out of necessity 8 years ago.
I don't know if stumble is the right word because it was pretty intentional.
Well, what happened was, we have a son.
Yeah.
We work, crazy hours.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't want him to be home alone. Because
not at that age, no. And it's just not nice. It's just not okay.
We were latchkey kids, and it sucked.
Yeah.
And it's like, so what do? We spent an extra. At the time, it was
like $100.
Yeah, it was like an extra $100 a month to our partner, so that we got an additional room, and we made it the family space.
Yeah, well, we used it for storage too, but mostly it was somewhere where he could hang out and relax after school and do homework do his homework and play games and just be Nick.
Yeah,
and still be with us.
Yeah, and it was incredible having that space because, well, it saved us thousands of dollars.
Oh my gosh!
Because if you haven't priced childcare, it's outrageously expensive.
Oh yeah, it is, and it was a blessing that we were able to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. And I think we got closer to it because there, our Black Friday was a good example. He'd come in and he'd crash out in the back, and we'd be decorating the office and doing crazy things.
But he liked being with us.
Yeah,
and we like having him with us. I mean, he's a teenager now, and he still likes hanging out with us sometimes. Sometimes he doesn't, but then that's to be expected.
Yeah, and there was points where it's like, I want to go to the office and play video games.
Yeah, because he had liked his video games set up.
Yeah, that's one of the things we do. We know gaming is incredibly important to him.
Mm-hmm. It's one of his. It's entertainment, and he's got friends that he games with online. And so it works for him.
Yeah. So we're in the process of doing that once again.
Now our kid's older. He's driving now, so he's not here as often. But we also have a partner who has a younger son, and we want to make sure it's comfortable for him. And then it also gives us a chance to give an opportunity for anybody else who wants to come work with us to have somewhere for their kids to be.
Yeah, and the third space is not a new concept by no means.
Oh no,
it's a space that's neither work or in the case of kids, school, and it's not home because it's that you can't take your pants off and stick your hands down your underwear and hang out in the middle and be all nasty. It's someplace in between.
Yeah, Some people have that in like coffee shops. Some people have it in,
martial arts dodos is a common one.
It's often it's sometimes it's hobby related, I suspect.
Yeah. It's where your passions are. It's where you go to rejuvenate yourself.
Yeah.
One of the things I talk about a lot is protecting your attitude.
Yes.
There are times where it's like you need to, someone's come in hot and is done horrible things to you. It's like, you need to get off. You need to get out of the office space and into that other one and rejuvenate yourself.
Exactly. I did that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a weird morning, and it's like I came in. It's like, okay, and I took a minute, and I, made a little snack for myself, and I sat for 15 minutes in the back room and watched TikTok.
Yeah.
And it made all the difference for my day, the rest of my day.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's a game changer, and I really strongly encourage small business owners to do something like that.
And not just for kids, but for everybody. It's a break room, for lack of better terminology. And and the thing is, a break room in some spaces isn't very breaky.
Yeah, it's like, oh, here's your vending machine
and your table.
Yeah. And there's going to be a bunch of old newspapers
if you're lucky.
Usually dirty dishes.
Yeah.
Because no one's mom works there.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And no comfortable chairs, no comfortable spaces. Break rooms in a lot of corporate situations are lunch rooms. They're not where you can take a break.
Yeah, they're toss-aways.
Yeah. If I need to take a nap, I can.
Mm-hmm.
I don't usually need to, but it's nice to know I can step aside and go, stretch out for a couple of minutes on our sofa and, take a power nap.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Because I own this business for myself, which makes it a lot easier for me. To be fair, it is because we own this business that we have the opportunity. Because we set it up the way we did, and I think if you own a business, now we don't have employees, we have a partner.
Yeah. It's one of the things we kind of like having equals around us. Yeah.
We really do. None of us like to be bosses. I'm a lousy boss. I am a terrible boss. I'm just not good at it.
You'd hire the efficiency expert to go cut the fat.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm not a good boss. I'm not a good manager. I'm not a good teacher. I'm not a leader.
Okay, to be a teacher, to do what you do with insurance products.
You have to be a teacher. Okay, but
you have to have that gift of gab.
Yeah, well, that's different than some things, but either way,
to be a mom. You have to be a teacher.
Yeah. So. Okay, fine. I accept that. Now acknowledge that sometimes I do teach things, but it's I'm not a good boss. Never have been.
Well,
it's just not my bag. I like partners.
Okay.
And it's okay.
I will give an example, and this is one. Is there are points where you got to pull out your mom card?
Oh yeah, I do that. I mean, it's like, hey, don't forget to eat lunch kind of level.
Yeah, and so you are in fact being a boss. You're stepping into a different role.
Yeah,
and it's you're providing guidance to your peer.
Yes, to my peer. That's the key.
Yeah,
I'm not somebody's superior.
Yeah,
I'm not good at that. And I acknowledge that about myself, and that's okay.
We pitch that back and forth all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because there are points where it's like, Matt, what's going on in the world of politics regarding health insurance?
Oh, yeah. And you're always way up on top of it and can go into details. Sometimes shouting across, it's like, hey, Matt, what's going on with this? Even if I know the answer, just sort of, it's funny how it solidifies things with people.
Yeah, it's a game we play back and forth because we're all licensed insurance agents.
Oh yeah, and we're pretty much on top of what's going on. All of us have different strengths that we're involved in. Matt's up to he's very strong in keeping up with the politics of it all. I'm good with the procedures of it all. Shayla's still getting her feet under for a couple of things, but she's great with also excellent with the politics and the activism, which is critical. And that gives us, that's another nice thing about having a space for a third space is we can have meetings and things. If you want to invite people back for a coffee clutch about, if you've got, hey, let's all get together and discuss this project. We've got a comfortable space that's not somebody's office.
True. It's truly neutral space.
It is.
We brought in and we did it was Chicken Shack.
It was good too. Good job, Chicken Shack.
We wanted the all the families to get together, including the kids, and do a communal breaking of bread sort of
deal.
Break
the bread, get the feel for, get everyone's opinions, have a whiteboard session, for lack of better terminology.
Yeah, because the most, and this is one of those weird concepts that I had to explain to him, was the youngest person in the room is the most powerful.
And we empowered him. And I think he really responded to that.
Well, there's some dynamics there that a lot of people don't understand with that concept.
Okay, so elucidate.
One of the things is the child, and I had to point it out. It's like, look, the screaming baby in the room gets the attention.
Yeah.
Because no one likes the screaming babies.
Yeah.
So you empower. That's one version of that.
Yeah.
The other version is they're going to live longer than the old folks in the room.
Yes.
They're going to be able to touch the future.
Yeah. Now, others would argue that empowering kids like that is just setting them up for being spoiled. I'm saying others would argue.
Yes. If you don't empower them with a sense of responsibility.
That's the key.
If they don't share that value of empowering youth, or looking towards the future, then they'll be self-focused, and they will shaft everyone around them. So
one of the things that creating the third space and doing it in a family manner, embracing everybody everybody as a family member, regardless of whether or not we're blood related.
Yeah.
Gives everyone a sense of not just power, but it's okay. One of the things that I think bringing in the family did is it made our youngest member not feel like a guest.
Yeah.
It's like, this is your space, and he was able to help design it, and having that sense of participation gives him the opportunity to feel more connected with us, connected with the space, and so he'll protect it, and he'll be more comfortable there and not be constantly on guard.
Well, it also, and this is one of the important things. One of the things that we came out as a design concept was a wall of masks. Because there's a lot of superhero masks, there's gaming masks, there's a lot of masks out there. So we're like, okay, we're going to do a wall of masks. Awesome. And one of the things our son has picked up on was a rapper by the name of MF Doom.
Okay.
Now, MF Doom does wear a Dr. Doom style mask.
Very cool.
And I said, hey, do you want to have an MF Doom mask? And he's like, oh. And you can see the conflict.
It's like, I want to say yes, but that's not cool.
And he did break down and say, yeah, well, that would be really cool. And it's fun to do that with your teenagers because you get them to buy in. It's like, that was one of the things I made sure that was in the allotment of masks was an MF Doom mask. And it's going to be cool. And I'm sure there's going to be a point where he's going to go yoink and haul it off to some goofy project.
Probably. And that's okay.
And that's okay, because that'll be him taking a piece of that third space wherever he goes, and it becomes a safety factor for him.
Yep. So, that's one of those things that when he goes off to college, he might just take it with him, kind of thing. Oh.
It's part of the whole future thing.
I know. He's growing up.
and you have to, there's a certain let go, there's a certain plan, there's a certain prepare.
Oh, I know. It doesn't change the fact that as mom, it's still like, my little man's growing up. And then I look back at pictures and sorry, I'm getting all, I don't know. I can't think of the word I'm looking for. I don't know. Either way,
and
I'm getting emotional about it.
Yeah, you're getting a little emotional about it, and it's important because if you think about it, that home space is a real safe spot. It's not really designed for growth. You might do things together as a family, but it's not truly a growth space.
Okay,
it's a protected space. It's a safe space.
It's the runaway home thing.
The workspace, it's not a personal, oh hey, this is my personal goal setting agenda. This is you've got a work agenda,
right?
So it's a devoid of self.
Yeah, it's
and it moves in a direction that the home does not move,
right?
So that third space is something completely separate. It's a space where you revitalize yourself and you can explore and do things safely.
Yes.
And move in directions.
Yes.
You can share games. You can have a common experience.
Do hobbies and stuff.
You can do hobbies and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I know you're absolutely right. And I think it's a valuable tool. I think a lot of people don't realize that that's an option out there.
It's because we've lost that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not a norm. It's not a normal thing to see, especially in a work environment. Mm-hmm. What we're doing is not typical. This is not something you normally see.
No.
But you know what? If we can do it, so can other companies.
Oh yeah. It's
there's no reason why we have to be unique. I don't want us to be unique in this concept. Because if we can spread this feel, you realize how much happier people will be in this community?
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's what we did it by design.
I know.
We took control of the difficult situations, and we make it our own. Now imagine, because we've got an empty office space.
We do. We have an empty office space right now.
So it's and we started probably the biggest marketing campaign push in our lives.
It's going to be
in 10 years.
Big some booger. You are not going to be able to live in Central Washington and not have heard of us. It's at some point.
Yeah, it's what has happened is if you a lot of people don't realize this. There's been the COVID medical emergency since March of 2020, and it's ending.
Yeah,
and they're calling it the Great Unwind,
which is a weird choice, but that's okay.
It's okay.
I'm sure there was a lot of conversation about what to call it. There was a huge number of meetings about that.
Yeah, I'm sure there was, because we've been talking about this for over a year.
I like the word unwind. It's a good word.
Yeah.
And then, okay, you could consider the fact that the last 3 years we've been, as a nation, we've been way tense.
Yeah.
And this is the theory to start unwinding it, releasing some of that stress.
Yeah, and you're going to see there are a group that are experiencing benefit shifts.
Absolutely, health insurance benefit shifts are coming.
Well, the first thing that's happening is the SNAP payments.
Yeah.
Have reduced.
Yeah, and snapping the food stamp program.
Correct,
and that's people were getting boosted numbers because their income was lower. There was less, it was just people need a little more help.
No, it wasn't. Income was lower. It was because we were in the emergency. They wanted to increase the safety net, so they increased the amount of money allocated.
Yeah, exactly. Well, another thing that helped with is, we were actually it snuck up on us, is a lot of kids were getting their primary food sources from their schools.
Yeah.
Because of the SNAP program.
Yeah.
And when they weren't in school, they weren't getting, meals because for one reason or another, and the finances were tight or whatever. This expanded that dollar amount going to people so those meals could be purchased.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of that was about, making sure people stayed fed.
Yeah, so we're gonna see some of those,
and they're scaling some of those back.
SNAP's undone. In April's the unwind. The Healthcare Authority is going to start reviewing for
income and
eligibility
and
eligibility for our Medicaid program, which is called Apple Health.
Right. Why is it called Buckeye Care? Buckeye Care.
Or Beaver Care.
Potato Health.
Potato Health.
Actually, it is. I looked it up. There's a list.
It's not the Spuddy Buddy?
No, it is just Medicaid. Idaho Medicaid. Some states have names, others do not. We have Apple Health, Buckeye Care, Peach Health in Georgia.
Okay. Got to have some style, man.
Yeah. Tells you about their marketing campaigns. But either way, what's going to start happening is they're going to start with Medicaid. People who are currently on Medicaid, they were not, over the since COVID emergency hit, it was declared, no one was doing, they weren't doing the audits to make sure people were eligible by income, because that's how your eligibility is established, is by income. And those audits weren't happening. And so now they're going to start asking for income verification at enrollment periods. When your enrollment period comes around, it happens once a year, thereabouts. They're going to go through and say, okay, we need documentation. What's your income? Do you still qualify? If you don't, then here's your opportunity to go into a qualified health plan.
Now, I've got some great example. I got a great example because I was out on Reddit yesterday.
Oh, gosh. My favorite website.
And mentioned the SNAP program going away.
Yeah. Well, it's not going away. It's just it's going back.
It's reducing in amount.
It's going back to where it was.
So more people will be hungry.
Yeah.
And
especially since the price of groceries have gone up.
And mentioned the great unwinding, and someone piped up, "Oh, great! I can't afford insurance, health insurance," and it came out that this person was making $60,000 a year.
Okay, just by themselves?
As far as I know.
Okay.
Actually, they reported as making less than $60,000.
Okay.
And we're on Apple Health.
Okay, so they'd been riding the Apple Health because of the COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, now they're going to have to assume. Now we're assuming they're a W-2 employee. They're not a 1099. They're not working for themselves. But let's go with that person.
Yeah.
We don't know if this is that person, but this is the person we're creating. They work for a company who's, for one reason or another, is not offering them health insurance, and that happens. Yeah. They're making $58,000 a year.
Yeah.
They're single. They have had health insurance through the state because of the COVID emergency.
Yep.
That's going away.
Yep.
So they're going to have to verify their income, which means they're probably going to go off of Apple Health. And then they'll have a 60-day window to get a qualified health plan. And at that rate, they'll get advanced premium tax credits to reduce their monthly premium. I don't know how old this person is.
Okay.
But it's going to be less than 8.5% of their income.
So the fun thing is, I get information from people pretty easily these days. And then we're like, it's like, yeah, it's pretty clear, 60,000, you no longer, qualify for Apple Health. And if, you're supposed to be making your income updates of, every time in 2 months in a row, you make more than $150. And they're like, oh, we've been doing that. It was one of those, okay, cool. Because we've seen these accounts where, what is it? It's there's a position in the application that the Healthcare Authority triggers Do you remember what that is?
A position in the
Yeah, there's an actual line in there where it subtracts from the gross income.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's the domestic.
Oh, that one. Yeah, domestic production.
Domestic production.
Right. That would, because no one ever uses it. No one actually has that as a deduction. So they used it as an easy way to bring down. Okay. When they were keeping people on Apple Health, the healthcare authority would take the dollar amount that was over the threshold and shove it in domestic production activities as a deduction to keep people on Apple Health.
Now, I've seen accounts where that portion is flagged.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I haven't.
Oh, yeah.
Had flagged in...
They've been red boxed.
Oh, that, yeah.
So I know.
Oh, they're going to start watching. That's where they're going to look.
I know that they've got to... They probably...
Oh, yeah. If people
they've got to report.
Of course they do. And they're going to be...
To pull those early.
No, I don't think they're going to go early. I think they're going to go at renewals just like they said they would.
So those are overdue.
I still think they're going to go at renewals because otherwise they're going to get overwhelmed because they have tens of thousands of people with that deduction in there.
Healthcare Authority and their customer service response to retired state employees. Did they care about customer service? No,
of course not. But that's not that's I think you're apples and oranges there a little bit.
I am hedging my bets that is a potential spot.
Oh yeah, that's
going to because remember prior to this it was on a quarterly batch.
Yeah.
And we could experience the quarterly batch. One famously was like June, July, or
there's always a round in the middle of the year where we'd have people losing their coverage. Now we have been told up until this point that they're going to do it at the renewal periods because they don't want to get overwhelmed. So I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to find out in about a month and a half.
Yep.
So
that's going to be an important one. So to get back, you have to focus on the youngest person in the room.
Iggy. But don't necessarily cater to them, but make sure that they feel a participant.
Well, they're it's more than participation because participation is kind of like adequate.
Okay. Well, participation is not the right word, but get them invested in it.
That's the word.
Yeah.
And not even invested in it, in the moment. Mm-hmm. You have to get them invested in the future.
Yep. And I think we did that pretty good with our youngest participant this weekend.
Well, I think it was all because even our partners, starting to see glimpses of it. And she came out, and oh, look at this great sign for you, Matt, that you can have up there. And I had to tell her, it's like, Shayla, I'm sorry, I eat last.
No, you don't. I do.
No, you actually in our house you eat first.
Typically. Oh well, yeah.
And then it's
and then it's a fight between you two.
Then it's a fight between my son and myself on who eats last.
Yeah.
Because we want to make sure that everyone else is taken care of.
Yeah. Well, we all do that. We all try to make sure. Well, I always take. Okay, when I serve dinner, we do a sort of a buffet style. We're not very formal in our house. I take my serving, right? But I always make sure there's enough for you guys. Always.
Yeah.
And I always know that if I want more, I can go back for more if there's anything left.
I can guarantee, without a doubt, you've eaten more hot meals than your mom did.
Probably. Because we did things differently when I was growing up.
But that was taking care of the other person's acknowledgement.
Well, I'm also acknowledging that I need to take care of myself.
Hmm?
That's a lot of what that's about. And I know that you encourage me to do that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because you'll murder yourself in a heartbeat.
I would.
So, hey, everyone, think about it. Think about what you're using for a third space. Are you protecting it? Are you encouraging its growth? Because that's the growth that will foster growth in yourself and your family.
There you go. Growth good.
Growth is good. So, hey, have a great week.
Yeah.
Look about it. We're going to be putting this up on the Facebook or Suzie page there.
Yep.
And if you got some comments of, hey, this is my third space, put them in there. So, hey, absolutely. Have a great day.
Talk to you later. Bye.